Pi group na pod. All right, so welcome to our second set. Mura magbanda, no? So, okay, so let's go back again to our goals for today, no? We are in CO2 now, which we implement abstract data type, no? Been doing this one for stock queues and all the rest of um, lessons, no, from our previous topics. And then, but right now we're going to focus on the linked list abstract data type, no, or linked list ADT. Okay, so when we talk about linked list ADT, this is you can actually implement stack and queues can be implemented in a linked list algorithm. However, we only implemented it using an array. Okay, so there are, by the way, two categories of a list, which are we called it general list and restricted list. When we talk about general list, these are list algorithms that are having no restrictions at all, wherein you can insert element to any location of your array or of your list, either at the beginning, in the middle, or at the end. While when we talk about restriction, you can never you can never insert to anywhere, no? So or delete anywhere. You can only insert at some point or some location. So and these are and infuse our stocks are actually example of what we call the restricted list because they have its own purpose. So stock and queues are an example of restricted list. Now, when we talk about general list, so we have linked list, vector, and array list. But for today, we're going to tackle about linear list, which is called linked list algorithm. So it has actually basic operations. We have here insertion, we have deletion. Insertion and deletion can happen anywhere. It can be done at the beginning, in the middle, or it can be done also whether you want to delete at the last portion of your list. Okay. So there is also this what we call retrieval and traversal. So when we talk about retrieval, when you're going to access data from it, and when you're going to do traversal, you're going to only visit a list. So when you're going to visit a list from one location to any other location. So that's traversal. And now we're going to implement this list into our own ADTs. Okay. So, but before that, allow me to discuss to you the idea, the concept about the linked list. Now, linked list has two parts or two components, and these are the node and the pointer, no, the data or the value. So dalawa yung ano niya. Can you please draw? Wait, ganun na lang. Ano ba? Wait, no? Later na lang. Paint sa paint, no? Sige, anyway, assuming this is, let's say, for an instance, people ko ka-draw. I'm not in the editing mode. Anyway, assuming we have here a box, and then we have in a box, we have two components. And the first component will be your data or the value. So these are the object that you will put in your list, while the next part or component of that will be called as pointer. The pointer is actually the address of the next list that's pointing, that is going to point. So when we talk about this, dalawang value yan. Okay, the data or the value and the pointer. So we're gonna be talking about it later on. So yan, no, ito yon, data and linked list. Now to give you an idea of how it is actually represented, this is now the representation of a list or a linked list. So you have the head, and then you have here the tail, wherein Insertion can be done anywhere. It can be done at the beginning. It can be done in the middle, or it can be done at the end. So there's no restriction anymore. All right. And this is now called as dynamic list because you can insert as many as you can. Unlike stack in queues, it is only limited to some values, depending on how much you actually specified to it. But again, stack and queues can be implemented in a linked list ADT. So now in here, you can see here the list. So this is the first list, and it is pointed by the head. The head has the address, and the address of the head I mean the address of this link is actually the address of the head, which is each list is composed of data and link. So ano yung data? These are numbers. This can be string, this can be character or anything, as long as it's a data input by the user. And then the link is the address that points to the next list. Do you follow? Gets ninyo? Okay. If you're going to ask me why is that so? Nganong inaanak man na siya, sir? Why is linked list like that? Kasi ang idea ni linked list, it's using or it uses the actual memory address. Diba? We're no longer using specifying as a certain value, like we can only store 10 or 15 or 100. We're actually using the actual memory address. We're getting it from our RAM. And once the list has created this list, it will get some part of our memory address which are not busy, or something like any address that is free, and it will be created or it will be put in a list. Once it is put in a list, it will be like that. So mag-create siya ng ganyan. So whenever it created the list now, it will look like this. Okay? So ang list niya internally will be like that. So let's say we have here 2, and then the data is 3, and then the other data will be 7. They are connected with each other. It's like a train. No? That whenever you have a train added to it, either at the last part, diba, you can just add it at the last portion of your list. But if you're going to add a train in the middle, you can actually just remove the link between the two and then insert the other train. Do you follow? I need you to understand the concept first before we proceed with the program. Okay? Yan, iguyod lang. Iguyod lang daw na. Okay. I'll do a screen recording here. Tama kong paid. Paid. Okay tayo paid. Ayun. Okay, so, oy, working. Kasi paano mo drawing nila? Tsaka how are you? Wala na po last time mo, nilibenta ng damit, ani. Baka, nandito sa'yo. Ang lahit ang tanan. Okay, anyway, mag-drawing na lang po, Dre. So, example, this is your head. Okay, so this is an empty list. This is the head. Ibaga akong naong. This one. Erase na to. Pinahon ko siya ang keyboard. Sige. Right. So example, this is our head. Okay. So yeah, it's just a head. Okay. So this points to patay. Whenever a list is empty, this points to none. Meaning it's an empty list. Right? So yeah, way sulod basically. So whenever we insert a value, okay, whenever we insert a value, it creates a new list. So when a list is created, dalawa talaga yung component niya, or it is composed of two elements. So first is the data. So ito yung data, anything or any value you want to store to your list. Let's say you want to insert 7 or enter 7 to your data to your list, and this is your link. So now, ano yung tinatawag natin na link? Yung link is actually an address. Address yan ha. So what is the address? If you're familiar with C++, there is this what we call pointer. Familiar ta sa C++? No, hindi na? Or C, pointer. So actually, if you've heard of pointer before, yung pointer is actually, instead of storing the actual value, it stores the address. It gets the RAM value. Then that address or that pointer will actually point to the actual value. And that is actually what happens whenever you use an object of your wrapper classes like integer, double, string, boolean yung wrapper classes, okay, or even vector or array list. So now, ang address natin are usually itong mga, di ba, fx, d, c00 something, ganyan. Na whenever may mga di ba, whenever may mga screen, blue screen of death, di ba, mag-appear ni siya. Mag-appear ni siya usually error at ganitong address. So we use this address and this is stored by the link. Okay? Yan yung link. Yan yung pointer. Okay? It stores the address. Okay? So that this will be created. So from RAM, ito yung na-create ng ito yung galing kay RAM, our memory address na RAM, our random access memory. Whenever we create a list, ito yung gagawin niya. So may 7 na data and may link address. Now, in order for this to be linked, we need the address of this one to be the address of 7. So now, para itong 7 will be connected to the head, kukunin natin yung address ng head. So let's say yung address ng head is fx or fx 001. So i-connect natin ito sila, and this time now, the address of this link will be the address of head. No, they don't have the same address. Now, whenever may, di ba may address ito sa head? So yung yung address nitong list will be the address of this one. So nag-link na sila. Kasi in some sa portion sa RAM natin, what will happen there is randomly given kasi yan. Randomly given kasi yan. It's not anymore index-based na 0, 1. Di ba sa array kay index man dyan, 0, 1, 2. We know na it's from index 0, it's from index 1, it's from index 2. Now, in the case of linked list, it's not like that anymore. Okay? So, yeah, that's it. And then whenever you create another list, the address of this list will be now the address of the next list. Do you follow? So now, yung address naman nito, let's say nag-insert tayo ng 5, yung address ng 5 will be yung address that is address ni link, itong link. Para connected sila with each other. They have to be linked. Kasi if they are not connected, if they don't have the link that connects to it, then therefore you're not creating a list. Okay? So, in layman's term, ganito siya. Yung address ni head, ito yung address ni list, ni 7. Yung address ni link, ito yung ginamit na address ni 5. And then, okay, yung address ni 7 will be the address of head. Yung address, kaya may link tayo with this component or with this list, it's because ito yung address na gagamitin na naman ng another list which is 5. And so on and so forth na naman yan. Okay? So if ganyan, of course, it will just go with the flow. It will just create a list after every after the element, every after end of the list. Pero there are cases or instances that we insert data or list at the beginning. Therefore, whenever you insert data at the beginning, ito yung mangyayari. So let's say 10. Okay? So the 10 will have its link also. Okay? Now, para malagay natin ito sa head, we need to cut this one off and make the address of this one pointing directly from the head, and the link of this one will be pointing to here. Kasi add at the beginning tayo. Okay, the same way doing add at the middle. So I need you to understand that concept because later on that's what we are going to do. Yes. Sige. So let's now do the exciting part. So programming tayo. Ay, on na yan. Balik nyo na yan. Opo, thank you. Sige, I want you guys to create a test na natin. Test linked list. Or anything, basta tester natin for linked list. Oh yes, murag train. Muraog. Sapa. Basta there's something that connects it, and that is what we call link. They must have relationships. Okay? So kailangan nasa relationships. And in order for them to have relationships is the link that connects them. Pag wala silang link, they don't know each other. They are not in the same list. Claro? Oh, they are not in the same list. It's same with you, di ba? You have your connection with somebody or sa inyong mga katapat, you have created a list of friends. Tama? So if you cut the ties, then therefore, you're no longer a friend. Okay? But it's more than that, no? It only happens sa Eclipse. Anyway, don't you worry kasi kung sa IS na part, ito lang yung dapat alamin nyo, no? Linked list. You'll just have to import linked list under java.util. No? Sa mga IS natin, so let's say LL is equal to new linked list. Okay, so don't mind this one kasi this would identify what object we are going to actually maintain.
Sir, wala ka naka-share screen po.
Gituyo na ko na para I would know that if you're really listening.
Okay, sige, sir.
Joke lang. All right. So, yeah. Again, for IS people, it's enough for you to only know at least linked list as the built-in, no? Itong built-in na linked list, and it's under java.util linked list. Okay? So, actually, linked lists are almost the same with vector and array list, stack and queues, only that stack and queues has restrictions. No? Okay? Kasi it would be good if inana ang way of doing it, yung algo niya. There are things kasi na need restriction para ma-maintain niya ang algorithm niya, ang operation with that. It's the same good class. It's the same idea sa let's say imagine daw if ang ATM kiosk ninyo if it does not follow a certain algorithm sa filing sa money bills. Imagine na ninyo if i-random lang na butang dito ang kwarta. And then whenever mag-withdraw kag money, 'di ba? It's like messy whenever you withdraw something, di ba walay organization of ano sa imong money bills. Imagine what algo is actually implemented in the ATM kiosk. If it's let's say ang 1,500 are parang mix lang sila, or probably baka 1,000 they have a separate pile of pile stack of 1,000, may 500, and if ever ang iyahang whenever mag-withdraw ka ang in the middle siya magkuha, so ang arrangement sa kwarta ano po siya ma-compromise, tama. So it has to follow a certain algorithm. So probably unsay ano niya, probably FIFO, no, first in first out, tama ba? Ma-imagine ninyo nakatry na magpangawat o nakatry na magkukabog ATM, nakatry na magpangutana ako atong ATM na unsa na pag plus star na. Oh, let's assume lang. Okay, let's assume in layman's term Bisaya nato. So let's say 1,000 file. Siyempre 1,000 arrange na siya dira, no? Tama, naka-file. Okay? So probably FIFO yan kasi katong first in mo to ang whenever na mag-withdraw mo tong first ma-remove. Dili siya somewhere in the middle, dili siya somewhere in the end. So that's why na restriction. If that algorithm will not be followed, then therefore probably ang mag-withdraw ka is ang kwarta that will be taken out is coming from in the middle sa di ba? If things will really get messy. Okay? Anyway, so yeah, this is linked list. It's the same idea with vector and array list. So you have add, no, you can add anything you want. Let's say 5. Okay? So, pero meron ito siyang add first. Unlike vector, wala siyang add first. Si linked list lang ang merong add first. Okay? So let's say MCM. LL.add. So, ito yung add somewhere in the middle. So, whenever you insert data or value, let's say you have here 10. Ayan. Inana lang siya, no? Add last. Yeah. So, whenever you add data to at the last. Okay? Ano lang siya ka-simple, no? Because it's ADT. It's created already. Tama? And it's available for us to be used. Whenever may application tayo and we need this algorithm because it is already created, okay na. Okay? But in the case of ComSci and sa mga mobile developers or game developers, we don't settle only knowing this portion. We have to dig deeper and go beyond. So kailangan natin, we'll have to disassemble this one and look internally what's inside. Okay? So it even has remove. Okay, remove first. So may remove first siya. May remove last. Yan. Remove last. So may mga remove first, remove last na siya. Okay, do you guys follow? Okay, so ito yung linked list. So we're not gonna be talking about this as a linked list. We are going to create our own ADT. Okay? So ito yung exciting na part. So we're going to So we're now going to create a node. So we're not going to copy. Pwede rin linked list. It's up to you, but this time I'm going to call it a node. Okay? Okay, so just the usual encapsulation. We'll need to create private property of our node. So let's say we have, this time we're only going to maintain integer data or value. Yan. And then we're going to have a declaration of head and a next. So ito yung node, ito yung object, okay? Object of the node, head and next, and this will store, okay, para you would understand, ito yung way natin to store or to get the address. Kasi this one is the actual value. Ito yung way natin para makuha natin yung actual address or address of a certain list. ah, ah, ah. Okay, so now we'll create a creator. So just the usual ADT, no, we'll have to have a creator. So let's have here head is equal to next is equal to null. So this means that our node is an empty node. Okay. So our list or our node is an empty node. So again, ano yung andun sa node? A node has two components, the data and the link or the pointer or the address. Okay, wag kayong maano sa term ha. The term data, basta any value that you put in the list. Yung another component niya is link, pwedeng pointer, or pwedeng address. Follow? So now, the only thing that we can add as an operation of linked list is whenever it is an empty or not. Okay? Hindi na pwedeng mapuno kasi nga dynamic list algorithm na ito. Meaning, wala siyang chance na mapuno. Okay? Unlike stack, unlike queue, walang chance na mapuno ang linked list. Okay? So now we'll have here to declare boolean, let's say, is empty. So how do we know if the node is empty? If true or false. If it returns rather head is equal to null. So whenever the head is null or it points to null instead of some address, then our list or node is an empty node. Okay. All right. Okay, so now maghimo taog add. Ano yun kanina? Add first. Okay. Public void add first. Add first tayo. We will simulate, okay, we will simulate the add first. Kung paano ginawa yung add first. Diba kanina nag-test tayo dito? So tingnan natin kung paano ginawa si add first. Okay? So let's have here int value, let's say value or data, it's up to you. So ito yung first operation niya. Okay, operations or operation add first. Yeah, add first. Basta these are the list of the operations. Okay, so we will have to evaluate if it's empty or not. Okay, so if let's say is empty, so if the node is empty, no, first is we'll need to, lagyan natin muna ito ng end of add first. End of if. Okay, so we'll have here a declaration of node. So node, let's say new node is equal to send node. Joke lang. New node is equal to naka-record ba dahil nino? Okay. I cannot make this one maging published. Node. No, I said node, no? It depends on the pronunciation. I didn't pronounce it wrong. Okay, so this is now the instance of node. So we'll need to create a new node kasi we are about to create a new list that is going to be inserted in our node. No? Okay. So in order for us to do that, pag empty siya, we will assume that the first node will be the first list. Tama? Do you follow? Kasi empty nga, walang other list. Okay? So this time will be we'll get the data right after it, and then we're going to store the value to that data. Okay, we are going to assign the new value as the data of the node. Okay. Now, okay, we're going to then what do you call this one? Point the next to null. So now why do we point the null, or why do we make the next point to null? Because again, there's no data or there's no list after it. Claro? Hmm? Wala sulod po ng otok. Patay, di ata maluya. And then, since para we would know that node, this node is now the head, okay, i-assign natin that this node will be our head. Kasi nga empty. Meaning, pag empty siya ang node natin or ang list, it will be the node or the head automatically. Sige, assume natin na ang head natin points to null. Tama, di ba? Alright? Meaning there's no list yet. Tama? So, when it is empty, it points to null. Our head points to null, right? It does not have any address yet. Tama? So, since we add data, we add node as add first, then therefore, it will assume that the node that will be added in the list will be assumed as the head. And in order for us to make the new node to be the head, we will do this one. That the value that is added to that list as the data, and the next that points to null, it means there's no address. It means there's no connecting list to that next node. So ang mangyayari nito would be drawing. Hindi mo na mugana diri sa Windows sa mugana. Isa na laptop nila. Uy. Ay, ano? Katiga. Isda na. Balik. Wala ka sa point. Ako din ako. Ito dyan. Dili mo gana. Pero ay na lang, okay na. Okay na. Ano mo good. Sige, nani na lang. Okay, diri na lang ta. Okay, sige. Example, head is pointing to null, meaning there's nothing yet. No more list created. Tama? So no list is created. Okay. So now when we call add first, pagtawag ng add first, we store data. Let's say mag-store tayo ng 5. So tawagin natin add first, and we store it, or we store 5 to it. Okay? So ito, mag-create siya ng list like this. So may 5 na siya, and may next ito. Okay? Ang next na ito points to null. We have to make the next point to null kasi it would determine that the list is the end of the list. An indicator na, oy, end of the list na siya. Wala nang next. Okay? Klaro? Okay. So now, para next part ito, para we would make this list as the head, i-assign lang natin that the head is actually pointing to 5 and yung next. Okay, ito yung sinasabi ko sa inyo na next or link. Ang next actually, ano natin yung mga analogy, yung link is actually equal to yung next. It's the same idea that I have discussed earlier. So there is now a link between head and your list, which is 5, that has next na nagpoints to anong gi-point niya? Null. It means it's the end of the list. There's no more list after 5 or after this node. So this is what happens when a node is empty. All right? Sige. That is what happens internally, ha? Okay, so now, let's let's have the ikapoy ko explain. So let's have whenever hindi siya empty, gagawa tayo ng the same idea. However, this time, instead na it will be concatenated or added at the end of the list, this will be added at the beginning. Kasi add first man ito. Tama? So we have example, we have 5. So this time, yung next natin will be, ano dapat gawin ni next? Will be your head instead. Okay, nakuha? Then our new node will be, or this node will be now the head. Sorry. Baliktad ako, sorry. That's, baliktad. Kasi si head, siya yung attribute natin. So dapat head is equal to new node. Okay. There's no walang use itong head if that is the case. The new node will be assigned as new head. Based on what I have discussed, head should be something na yun yung a-assign na ng value. But this time, instead of the head, it's the new node. Okay, anyway, now when the node is not empty, ang mangyayari is, let's say you will create another node, let's say 7. So mangyayari is we have 7 and we have next na link. Link. And this points to null. So ito na naman yung bago. So how do we put this one? So sabi dito sa operation niya add first. So instead of this will be concatenated after 5 kasi our node is not empty, therefore pupunta siya sa else. So ang mangyayari will be ang new data will be 7 that has next to it, okay, that points to null. Okay? So, sabi niya is the next will be your head. So, ang head now will be 7. Okay, will be 7. And next, it points to the new node which is 5. That points to nothing, which points to null. So, yan yung mangyayari sa add first. Okay? So, isipin nyo lang, pag empty, ito, magto-true ito, and then it makes your node as the head. Whenever hindi siya empty, it will make the node to be the new head. I-replace niya lang yung existing head. Again, i-replace niya lang yung existing head whenever the node is not empty. So parang sa array lang, ganito lang yan siya. Kung sa array manggod, let's say array, basta sa array will be 0, index 1, 2, 3, 4. It's like you're going to when an array is empty, of course, first value to be inserted or index will be 0. And the next will be 1. But instead of ang 1 is whenever new value coming in, the value that is entered or the value that is being entered will be replacing the value in the index 0. So parang magka-cascade lang siya. But that is the case of array. Pero si array kasi is index based. I mean, they are already a list. And we can access them through index. Pero sa linked list, hindi. the only way for us to access them is to using address. Sige. All right, sige. Let's have now traversal. Para we would know kung na-insert pa siya, naabay list na create, so dapat may traversal tayo na operation. Okay? Tingnan natin sa online. Oh, betrayal. Anong betrayal? So, let's have here string hold equals to like this. Okay, so let's have a loop. So, no, let's not use, let's use a, this is file controlled loop or end of file loop, no, sorry, end of file loop. So, we'll need to have a new object of node. So let's call this node as, let's say, our link is equal to node. So while link is going to traverse in the list and it reaches to null, it would mean na end of the list na siya. So kaya ito yung part na why we have to point the list at the last part to null para it would know na stop na siya visiting or traversing from one node to the other. Okay? So it's an indicator na, oy, stop na ko, delete na ko. Diha, ang lami. Okay. Sa null. Okay? Sa null. Okay, now, so whenever na ma-reach niya ang null, every time mag-traverse siya, we'll have to visit the, of course, the data, no? So hold is equal to link.data. Kukunin natin yung ma-visit niya. Okay? Para yung mga values na we inserted will be printed. And then let's have here link dot link is equal to link dot x. So let's have here return. Oh. Okay, so sige daw, what do you mean by that one? Do you guys have question? Okay. So much better pala gawin natin ito na head rather than, kasi pwede rin pero much better na an indicator na it is going to start at the beginning. No? So pwede naman 'yon pero you'll need to assign the link is equal to head. Pero much better na direct na natin i-assign si link as the head. So meaning to say, this is the start. So magsta-start siya. And we ask the link to be the head. And of course, di ba, whenever you do traversal, we don't make the head traverses the list. Tama ba? Tanggalon ni mong ulo, mo adto dito mo visit sa tanan tanan list. No. We just assign somebody to go and visit the list. And that is the work of role of link. And then kani, it will just concatenate whenever what value is visited. No, if ano niyang sa hold, tapos lagyan na lang natin dito ng something like this one. Para a concatenation or sige, butangan na tong inani para an indicator or indicator na it's a separate list. And then link is equal to link dot. Sige, so let's go now to test link list. Are you guys done with this one? Okay. Sige. So this time, syempre, change natin ito to node. This will be changed to node. Walay bawi ay next sem. Aratsada na ta. So we have now the add first. So add first 5. Tapos add first 7. Ayan. And then let's try to call traverse. Ako na mo, giran lang mong guna ko kay kabalo mo slow kayo akong computer. I feel good. So yeah, it's basically listing only 5 and 7. However, the good thing about this one is you can create an eternal list. Wala na siyang limitation. There's no limit to it. And that is how array list, that is how vector, that is how linked list was created or were created. So this is now the part na ang data structures natin ngayon are dynamic algorithm. Okay. So, yeah, there's no restriction. Add at first. Let's say add tayo ng 9. So, yeah, basically 9, 5, and 7. So, tingnan natin. I would need you to understand na sana yung part na pointer or sana yung part na address na sinasabi mo, sir. So, yun yung gagawin natin here. Okay? So, in order for us to actually get that, kuha na to diri. So, link that oh, sige. Kung laton ta ka, ikabala ka.
Ay, kasi mayroon.
Ay, kumpiyansa.
Kasi mayroon. Abay, pupulit kasi error ba?
So this is not actually this is not necessary na ilagay niyo yung next, but this will identify is kung ano yung address na ginagamit na list natin. Oh.
Kasi,
Sa kayo
Isa ay, return hand. Tapos,
So yung traversal, yung guys, yung traversal or traverse is it's like display is a stack in queue lang yapon. But this time, instead of it will base on the top or it will base on the rare, di ba? It's now basing on yung loop natin will base on how much it is going to traverse until it reaches to null. So whenever you have millions of lists or node, until makita niya yung null, that's the time it stops. So it's actually a long list to travel. Kasi nga, it has to visit all the nodes. Wala siyang basis for So medyo slow siya, pero ang idea dito is dynamic siya. So now, if we get to run this one, ito yung class. Tingnan nyo siya. Tingnan. Yan na yung mga address.
Di lang yung maran ako ah.
Guys, so yan na yung mga address, node at, so sabi niya, node at address, yan yung kinuha niya sa RAM na 78308DB1 and you know, we don't have to familiarize that one. Kung baga sa ARM pa yan, yan na yung index niya.
Iran is an
Yes, around yan.
only ang address.
Yes, that's the address.
Dahil
So,
sinabi na ako parehas na.
Hindi, kaya sir, address ko lang, kaya magpulit sila pareha.
Abi na ako katong sa address ay isa.
Dahil sila ang address, of course, siyempre, hindi mo siya i-store sa RAM. Sa free na lang. Through na itong, di ba, nag-point, ano tawag, point. Connect natin sila. Ay, pakita sa company. Okay. So, ang node, yung node at 78308DB1, that's the node, that's the head. Yan yung address ng head. Yung head points to the next list para may list na ma-create, i-point niya yung next list which are 9 yung laman at saka another node or another address. So basically, yung address ni 9, guys yung address ni 9 is itong address na node at 78308DB1. Taro?
Asa address na nga na sir?
Alam na din eh.
Yung node sir.
Address na 9.
Address na nga na.
Alam 78308DB1.
Ano isa na daw yan sir?
Ha?
Isa na lang ganyan sir. Isa lang.
Ano ba yan? Sige, ang iyang question tama. Anong di na siya tapad? Kasi nga, isa ka node mang good yung line and node at blah blah blah. Isa na list, isa na siya ka node. So, ang address anak niya nga node kay kaning head. Tapos kana nga node, ang address niya is kato na po.
Yan, diretso ba mo yes.
So kung wala na sila nag-point o wala sila nag-link together, they are not called as a list or as one list.
Gusto nga dito na address 9.
Dili po, kung wala po siya na mag-break ang list, then wala, there's no list. Huh?
Isa lang.
Actually, this is, actually, when bisan kinsa niyo pangutag na programmers class, ang handukan sa C++ o sa C, pointer dyan. Yes, which is kailangan. Anong programmers ka handukan, kana yung mga pointers or mga linked list. Na mga EDT na mag-create yung sarili.
Kasi sila na. Kailangan dyan na ipakita.
No, there's no need of, di mo na siya ipakita kay sa RAM na, di kata na sa RAM. Mag-change man yata ang value ani dire. Oo. Adi na di ay naghatag na siya daan. But pag mag-restart ka, probably mag-ano.
Lagyan ko si Monster.
Lahat man imong RAM. Lahat man ang gihatag nga ba? Lahat man imong gihatag RAM. Lahat man ang address. Dili ka pala ang address sa ay lahat man imong RAM dra, lahat man akong RAM. Isa inyong
Isa lang yun. Isa lang yun.
head lang siya sa RAM.
Head lang sir.
Kasi daw ngayon, note ang hapon. Kasi note at hapon na.
Ay, salamat balik sa ulit. Balik sa ulit. Isa lang. Balik lang ang load. Kasi mali yung gibit lang.
Pero gusto ko
Tama na mo ang no.
kasi mali imong dire traversal.
Head. Pwede tanggalan. Ano yung gusto? Tabi.
Online pips. Sige po. Hello online pips. Do you have questions? Natulog na.
Wala po, sir.
Wala. But then again, you don't have to do that. Pero syempre, para gusto ka na programmer ka tanaw, ibon na ibutang. Pero it does not necessarily mean na inyo nang i-appeal. Enough lang na nanatay na ni. Kanilang. Para lang to show to you na there is really address or pointer. Kani? Data lang, wala katong pointer niya. Wala tong address. Yes, the head address. Kaya gibutangan ako ni.
Isa lang. Head, ang address nasa head.
So na head lang na address kani. Ibutang man ko nako. I-try na to na mag-traverse ko pero walay ibutang na. So this will give you a null. Null. Walay address assigned. Klaro? Wala ko nag-add first, so ang head na to this time null. Okay? So kung mag-add na ko bag-o, ang head na ko now nanay pointer, nanay address so no mo ni 744E. Tapos ang data, ang node niya 5, tapos nanay no address si 5. Pero nag-point pa na siya sa null. Wala man ako gi-display kani, tanggalon nako niya. I-run ako balik. So null dara.
Address mo bilang pasagot yung oras lang. Kaya lang node.
So basically pwede mo magbutang diri og if list is empty, no? Butangan yung mga conditions na if magbutang mo mga condition ba? Like if you guys want to have a condition if let's say is empty, if the list is empty, you can para dili siya mag-point to null, you can have return list is empty, ano ba? List is empty. Then else lagay natin yung dito. Itong node link chacha. Pwede po. Pag dili pag let's say wala kay node na ibutang, at least dili siya null ibutang. At least dili null ang mo display. Ang mo display kay list is empty. Pwede po. Ready na mo uli si nagbike na. Kana may kuan, safety first. Safety first. Programmer na mo.
Wow. Sir, asa ganitong one transfer?
Ang talent unsa? Unsa man? Ang asa ang
asa siya kapag address sa RAM.
sila na ba internally wala na koy wala na kuan na siya like namo ko na duha ka memory management si Java, stack og heap. Si heap na nagahatag
Play ko ng address na
So basically sila na internally naga-distribute Pardon? Asa niya gikana? Sa imong RAM jud address sa RAM. Pero probably si Java na naghimo ang nag-inana na pangalan na address. Okay, basically pag ang compiling stage mangod sa Java naga-create ano mo guna siya og portion na nagahimo siya og nagakuha siya og isay tawag na address sa RAM. Di ba tanan man jud buhaton nato mas store sa RAM, even atong OS mas store sa RAM, even kaning Eclipse when we run Eclipse na store sa RAM, even kaning mga value or mga variables na atong gi-declare na store na siya sa RAM. Yeah, sige. So this time let's have another operation. So sige, public void add sa last tayo. Add last. So dapat sa last siya ma-insert rather than sa first. Return na yun. So if is empty, so tawagon lang nato si add first. Abot karon kung abot. Bless mo na siyang tahod niyo siya. I'm gonna swing from the chandelier. Si siya. Sino nga ba siya? Last points ko. Anyway, so pag empty, syempre tawagon lang niya ang add first. Kay empty man, there's no more list yet. Therefore, ato siya sa add first. Tama? Tama bang logic? Wala man. Kung walay add last ang gitawag sa user pero empty pa ang node. So therefore, kay empty man, diretso niya i-store siya sa beginning o sa first. So now, ang buhaton nato diri will be mag-declare na po tag node. So let's say node, new node. Okay, so para what you call this, para pwede nato i-diretso head ni siya. So we'll need to traverse, kapihon lang nato ni siya from here. And then kailangan niya i-visit ang pinaka-last na node. So sige, link na lang sa nato ni. Link is equal to link.next is equal to null. So until such time na makakita siya null is kailangan na to makita na so this is the traversal towards the end of the list. So do you understand? Do you follow? Di ba ang loop? So let's say na kay 100 ka nodes. So 100 ka nodes, ang pinaka 100 nagpoint to siya null. So when makita niya ang null, yes, muundang na siya, and then para mo transfer siya, kailangan the same ani. So link is equal to link.next. Mo traverse siya from one node to the other node. So now, kani siya na loop, this loop guarantees the end of the list. Okay? So diri na ta mag-add og bagong node. So node, new node is equal to new node. So create a new, dili man ta mag-traverse. Mag-create man tag bagong node. So we'll create a new node, tapos we would know na sa last yan na ibutang na to. So unsa kaya atong sunod buhaton dira? So what do you guess? Unsa kaya ang possible na tubuhaton. So now nakita na nato ang last node. So what do we do para mas insert nato siya or ma-add nato siya sa last node? So syempre balik ta sa new node.data equals value, the same lang gyapon. And then new node dot last man no? Okay. So this will make the node a new node added at the end of the list. Tama ra jud, kailangan yung points ganina kay inig pag-examine na lang, no? Balik. Dito na nato ni tarungon unya, dili karon din nato ni tarungon, joke lang. Okay, so try to add last, Sige, try na to mag-add og last node. So, add. Ay dili sabot ta later on ako ll.add last, let's say 100. Sige, what do you think? Kamu daw. What do you think is the display? Hmm? Saan ako nagkamali? Wow, saan ako niya? Sige, what do you think will be the display? Sige daw, any guess? Anong display ng list natin? Or ng node natin? Sige daw, any guess lang? Sige. Anong list ma-create? 5. So, mauna si 23, tapos 9, 7, 5, and then 1. Magna lang 100? Now, okay ha? Sige. I will not be very technical here. Okay, kani siya. Diba remember? Yes. Remember nag-add last siya na operation, tama? So meaning it's expected na ma-add siya at the last, tama? Guys. Listen muna, listen. Diba expected na add last siya, meaning there is already an existing list, tama? So now, if there are already 5, 7, 9, if mag-add ka ng new value, which is let's say 100, it needs to traverse na 5, 7, 9. Kailangan pa niya i-traverse para maibalo niya asa ang last na node. Kaya wala pa siya kabalo kung asa lapit ang last node. Ano di man siya kabalo, sir? Because again, it's an address that it has to be visited. Dili siya pareha sa array na dali lang nato may balan. Oh, last node may kasi siya ang top, siya ang rare. Nakuha? Diba sa stack sa queue may balan nato na. O last siya because the top we can easily access the top. Sa queue we can easily access the rare and the head. But this time, the only way for us to know and determine kung asa ang end of the node if it points to null. So yeah, it has to visit the link, all the nodes towards the end, then para may balaan niya kung sa to address ato. So now, once it gets the address of the next node, ito na yung gagawin niya. The new value will be now created as a list, and that list or node now will point to null. And we will make that new node as the next that points to null or to nothing. Yeah, yan na lang. Okay? So, yeah, actually that's what happened. So, ay, nakita akong abs. Pag traversal, what do you mean, baba? So this is now, let's go back. So morning mahitabo niya. Okay, so getche na, getche. Gets or wala? Okay, so if you happen, it's almost time naman. If you happen na wag gihapon na gets. Anyway, I don't know if I have it covered really sa tutorial. Sa to na view na ba nako ni? Actually, this is the hardest part jud sa data structure jud. Kaning list. Tapos all throughout list naman gud na sa module 3. Tanan list na mga inani na. Ang istorya taron. Ano ra? Ayan, actually, nana ni siya nana ko yung mga discussions ani, pero this one is nana siya. Nana ni siya with explanation with writings. I just hope masabtan. Ha? O pwede yun. Purlo po ito. Ini odless. Di ba ano nang yung ano? Assign the leak to have the address. Ano pointer? When the leak to P. Yeah, taas-taas yun siya. I don't know. Kamo bahala. Yeah, it's 11. Pero tag minutes lang ni 5 minutes. Tag minutes ano lang nako ni siya. All right. So, yeah, dali lang siya i-trace, but ang ano lang jud na part is kanilang jud na ano siya. So, imagine inani lang siya, guys. That's why we study different data structures so that you will appreciate as a programmer kung unsa ka lisod ay sa una na walay ADT, walay mga built-in array list, walay built-in vector. So imagine ko if you happen to live ato mga sa unang panahon, wala pa linked list, wala pa vector, wala pa array list. So they did it this way ang ilang data structuring. So since na built-in naman siya na may na-create na mga ADTs, mga libraries that we can use. So it's easy for us to actually just use them. Pero yeah, that's why we study different data structures. Kaya, di ba as I've told you, kung if you want to become a car mechanic, hindi man enough for you to only know how to drive the car. Tama? So kailangan you need to move out the parts internally and identify what this part's all about, unsay connection niya to others, so that you will be able to fix them. In order for you to really create yours is to disassemble them, take out the parts and study them. So, and that's what we are actually doing. Okay? So, yun lang, no? Ang ano lang dyan is, things are getting easier for us. But since, like, you want to become a programmer, just like us, so others would like to become a car mechanic, so we have to do the hard way. Right? I don't think so if you're going to just like create mga TPS or what, you will really do this. But if katong mga hardcore na pang ano na job like mga microservices, pang ano ng program, pahimokon mo mga APIs and all, you will really do this kind of coding. Yes, IS business process lang mo yung focus. So most probably, mga comsci, like they would like to create a new map. No, they would like to create a new map, and then that new map is an upgraded Google map. So eventually, yung mga IS, IT can just use the map created by the yeah. For example, anong mga Google Maps when it is kung wala na na-create, we'll really need to create it from scratch. Tama? So, yeah. Yung natin gamit. Gamit. Ano mo? Ang IS na part is, okay, we'll purchase in aning RAM, in aning specs, in aning ang business process, in aning blah, blah, blah. Okay, Comsci, himuan ng program.
From scratch.
Ana ng Comsci, no? Sila Comsci mag-program, maging data analyst, data scientist. So, that's why medyo hardcore dyan ang programming ni Comsci. That's why they have discrete structures. In fact, diba, we have studied different discrete structures na algorithms concept. Anyway, so I would not hold you for long. Like, what my breakfast? So wait for a while. Thank you guys no so for having you here and congratulations everyone sa pangatipon na to. Hopefully may ganda next time. Thank you and have a great day ahead. Bye-bye. Online trips, thank you.
Di ka maulit do.
Bye-bye, bye-bye, bye-bye.